Hi, I'm Steve Wood from ManyWho, and in this first tutorial I'm going to take you through the very basics of building an app on the ManyWho platform. So to start, we call an app a flow. So when you first get your account and you first log in, I definitely recommend going through the Getting Started guide. If you don't want to sign up for a Salesforce account, because a lot of the Getting Started is around Salesforce, you can use our Quick Start, which basically is a few steps you need to do to set up a basic service to use for your identity. But let's get straight into building an app. We'll assume you've read the Getting Started guide. So as I said, a flow is basically an app. We call it a flow because it can be everything from a simple mobile app to a complicated workflow involving multiple users across mobile and desktop. So we're going to build something much simpler than that though, just to get going. So first thing you need to do is just click on Flows in the top left, and you'll be presented with this first dialog. So I'm just going to create a new flow. It then asks me to select a service, and really the service is just asking me which service am I going to use for identity. And just for the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to use the ManyWho identity, which you'll have created as part of the Quick Start. And now you'll get a screen which says, okay, what do you want to call your flow, and maybe a quick summary. So I'm going to call this a quick app, a quick demo app. And our identity service really only supports public access. So that means our app is going to be public to the internet, and we don't include social networking or collaboration in terms of a feed. So we'll just set that to none. Don't worry about that for now. Just give your app a name and a summary. Say it's public to the internet, which means it's basically more like a website, and that you don't want to have any collaboration as part of it. And then we'll hit save. So the first screen we're now looking at here is basically our design canvas. You can see there's the start element here, and then you've got some elements down the side. You've got a bunch of elements along the top. Let me give you a sense of what's going on. The elements along the top are kind of global things, which is to say that all of the apps you build have access to these things. If you create, for example, a value that you want to reuse, like say your email address, you can use it in lots of different apps that you have. It's something that's kind of global. Also, if you create page layouts, they also are global, so you can reuse page layouts in more than one app that you build on the platform. But I'm going to focus on the elements down here. And the most basic element is the step, and that's the one I'm going to focus on for this tutorial. So what is a step? And let me just walk you through the logistics of how you create one. So first thing you do when you're using this palette is you click on the element and then drag it over. And you'll see it gives you some guiding lines to maybe help you align things. So I'll just drop that now. And you'll see the first thing I'm confronted with is this dialog that says, okay, what do you want to provide for your step? And I'm just going to put home. Now when you think about a step is most like just a page, a web page. Think of it as a standard web page. There's no inputs or anything. It's just simply a piece of content that you want to show the user as a page that they can navigate to. That's by far the easiest way to think about it. Now, when you're building the content of your page, you do that here in this editor. And if you look at this editor, you'll see it's got basic sort of editing functions that you can use to format your page, including embedding videos and images through to creating kind of static tables and things like that. If you need to and you want to, you can also look at the source code. Everything you're typing in here is HTML and HTML5. So let's put in home. Let's put in this is my brand new home page. Delete that. Then maybe I'll apply a format. I'll basically make that a heading 1, which is to make it a little bit bigger. If you want to, as part of your pages, you can also embed images. So if you go to this image link, what that'll allow you to do is create an image. Either you can copy an image off the web, or if you like, you can actually upload images to our service. So you can actually use our image repository to upload your own images. So I won't do that now, but you can basically create your own images and documents and things you may want to include as part of your flow. Okay, so I'll hit save to create that step. So right now that step isn't connected to anything, and also our start isn't connected to anything. And what start really means is when a user first starts using this app, what's the first screen they're going to see? And so what we're going to do is we're going to say the first screen they're going to see is the home screen. So just drag an arrow over and then dropped. So, and what I'll do is I'll call this connector Go. It actually doesn't really matter what you call this connector, but let's just call this one Go. So what that basically means is that this, as soon as the user starts, they'll go to the home screen. And actually, maybe I didn't explain it as well as I could. When I hovered over, I waited until my mouse turned into the little pointer with the orange dot, and then I dragged that, or clicked and dragged it over. So that's now our home screen. And obviously, you can move this stuff around as need be to kind of get your alignment right. So that's one thing to think about. Now I'm going to add another step to think about like how you can link steps together, so you can link pages together. And there's two ways to think about the way you can link pages together. One is you can link a page simply by creating a button that leads to that page, or you can create navigation, like say a website, where you can just go to that page anytime you feel like it. And let me show you the difference between those two techniques. So first I'm going to create something that I could just navigate by clicking a button. So you might be thinking about an app that just guides a user step by step through a flow of screens. So let's do that now. So we hit the home screen, and then maybe I'll go here and I'll add another screen, which maybe I'll call product. And then maybe I'll go in a product tour here, and I can put in welcome to the first screen in my product tour. And I can then highlight that again. Maybe I'll make that a heading 1 again. And I can save that as before. And again, you can do much more complicated formatting. Now here I might go, all right, so I'll drag again and drop. In this point I'll put product, and you'll see the labels product. I'm going to create one more screen, which is I'll create another screen which is maybe something to do with the company. So I'll put company, I'll put my company. This is some information about my company. Again, I'm keeping this purposefully very simple just to give you a sense of just the basics. Again, play with the editor, add some images, make it look pretty, whatever you like. So again, I'm going to create a button here, and I'll drag it down over here, and I'll just put in here a company. And I'll click Save. And I'm also going to drag an arrow from product to company over here. I'll put company. And what we're doing is we're basically building a flow of screens that the user can kind of click through sequentially to get from location to location. So let's just try running that now just to see what that would look like to an end user. So I'll click Run. But the first thing Service does is a quick build and then a run. So here we are. Now our flow, you can see, has got our two buttons, company and product. So if I click on product, you'll see I'm guided here, and you can see I've now got that company button, which guides me down to the company page. And this is good if you're building things like a troubleshooter where you want to sequentially walk somebody through a series of steps. Maybe you want to have a guided tour and you want to embed videos to show, hey, watch this video first. After you watch that, move on to the next video. You could create, for example, a training scenario, whatever you like. It's this kind of sequential step by step by step. But as you know, often when you're building applications, it's more than just this sequential walking through. You want to allow the user to kind of go where they want. For example, if I want to lead the user back, I have to provide buttons everywhere in order to kind of guide them around the application in a sequential order. So in order to kind of give you a more flexible navigation than the buttons, we created this concept of navigation. So let me show you what that looks like now. So I'm going to create a new navigation layout for our app. Now when I say navigation, just think about a menu like that you see at the top of a website. And here I'm going to create one now. Create a new navigation. I'm going to call it My App. And that will be displayed in the header of the navigation bar. And then in here I can select where the menu items are going to take the user. So in this case I'm going to say, I'll have this one just take them back to home. I'm going to add a new navigation item for product, and I'll add one last one for company. Now I can move these navigation items around. I can sort of go, actually I'd rather have that one at the beginning, or I'd rather have that one at the end, whatever you like. You can kind of change the order anytime and whenever you need. Equally, if you want to make it a sub-menu item, which is to say, you've got your main navigation and then a sub-navigation, you simply slide it to the right, and it means that this menu is now a sub-menu of the home menu. So that gives you a sense of what you can do. And again, I'd recommend just playing around with it and seeing what you can do. So I'll save that now. So now what we have is kind of two things happening. We've got navigation, which is step by step, where you're seeing the buttons, and I click a button and it takes me to the next screen. But what we've added is this navigation, which is just direct links to the elements we want to go to. So I'm now going to click on Run again, and you'll see what happens. So the first thing the software is doing is saying, okay, which navigation do you want to use? We actually allow you to have more than one menuing system for a single flow, but don't worry about that for now. Let's just say we're going to select our My App. And now you can see the difference. So I've got my buttons that lead me, but also at any time I could just jump around wherever I like inside of the app, or I can be navigated through sequentially. And you can see no matter how I get to the screens, it knows exactly where I am in the flow. So that gives you a sense of the two different navigation techniques you can use. Also with the product, we've made these nice and responsive so that if you do want to run it on mobile, let me just shrink my screen so you can see what happens. When I shrink this down, you'll see the menu automatically transforms into something which is more mobile capable. So hopefully that gives you a little idea, the concept of the arrows that guide you through your app sequentially, and you simply draw and connect the arrows to where you want the user to go, versus the navigation, which is like a global navigation that you can use just to jump to wherever you like. And that's the end of the first tutorial.